step to build the way to the deepest part of the self. The one who is completely disconnected from the rational mind, the one that is bleeding without rest, without one because, without a specific memory, the one that if not heard, dissolves into pain and physical discomfort, even important ones. Right there is the true healing of the soul. The wound that bleeds is pure healing energy for you and the planet. Do not run away, we are here for this. Release can only take place now, today. From solstice to the eclipse, to the planetary passages that drove us out of the way, from shattering of bangs and schemes, from solar and X-flare storms, we arrived in September, near the equinox, September 22nd. We find ourselves in a lot of space, and what is demanded in the order is a return to balance between the parts, because we are ready to really embrace something that may seem new, whether it is part of us, a situation, a relationship. Again, because we are required to release the old schemes and to get rid of the chains that the memories of the past have created within our hearts. These continued deaths and cuts with the past are necessary to free ourselves. At this time we are working on memories of centuries and centuries of pain and suffering. Someone should choose to come to the world at such a time of transition, where the trials are tough because too much trouble and separation have been accumulated for too long. These memories are present in our cells, in our DNA, and just as nasty as those who lived this year could spit on them, they are the most irrational and unconscious part. The only one that can really make us go back to the essence, where we will find peace and evolution without ever feeling separated from us or from others. Finally, the equinox requires stability. To find a center in all this hurricane of things that has happened inside and out, it requires a psychophysical balance in the mind, heart, body, emotions, because the tests are not over yet. The hardness of the tests depends too much on us. How hard are we with ourselves? What do we demand? What do we judge? How much do we criticize? It is time to embrace those wounded children, those women attacked, those rejected and abandoned men, those things that hurt. In this way yin and yang can meet and be accepted for what they are, without pretending to be different. The game of life is, in fact, an eternal game and transformation of yin and yang that meet in a dynamic equilibrium. One turns into the other continually in a cycle of expansion and contraction. We contract and then expand. But after an expansion can only happen a contraction, as after summer comes winter, after the day comes the night, after the moon rises the sun, and so on. We must learn to dance with it, to accept that the balance is dynamic, that light enters the shadow to shine more and then come back to learn more and more. Why don't we accept the nature of things? I know that all this is truly possible. There is no morning that I do not get up knowing that it is so, that the time comes when we can recover our inner authority, respecting us, entrusting ourselves, loving and filling the world of that light we bring in, and that is the true gift we bring to the planet. Recognize the beauty we bring in. Authenticity is the greatest gift.
Hello. Thank you very much for joining me. Paulina here. I'm in Warsaw. It's beautiful. Look at this. I love big buildings like this. I don't know why. I just do. Maybe because I got Neptune and Capricorn. I don't know. Here we are in Warsaw. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to be doing a video on the new moon in Virgo on the 20th of September and the equinox on the 22nd. Thank you very much for being here. Let's talk about you. Hi guys, so let's talk about the new moon on the 20th of September. So we're still kind of in Virgo, not totally in Libra. It is an interesting moon and it's got a little smile. It's got a little smile. It comes from kind of knowing that you don't have to make it matter so much, that you don't have to try so hard, and suddenly there is a release of tension and a relief and a sigh of approval. Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh. Oh, I kind of knew that it would work out this way, and you might have known. So for example, if you've been praying and you've been sad about something, your prayer might get answered. You might get relief. If you've been trying and you've been tempting yourself with experiences, but you've been trying to be faithful, you've been trying to be clear, you've been trying to be connected, you tried to be on focus. During this month, you might see it was really easy. And whatever you were fearing before wasn't actually that crazy. It wasn't that crazy, and it wasn't that hard to bypass, or just to not worry about. It feels to me that this moon just says, come on, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And it's a really interesting clearing time, especially for people who haven't just been sitting still, who've been walking and establishing themselves with greater stamina and greater security of mind. I feel that people that have been more meditative with their time and more still with their time are going to receive a big comeback. So whoever you are, it's like instant karma. It's like instant gratitude. So for example, if you are somebody like myself and worked out a lot, or you try to work a lot, or you try to work through something, this moon might say, hey, here you are. Suddenly, for example, you'll have a breakthrough, like you couldn't build muscle, suddenly you can see the definition coming through. Or you've been struggling with your diet and suddenly it's just so easy not to eat cake anymore. Or say, for example, you've been praying for this person and finally they come into your life. But there is an element of humor there. There is an element of also, how can I say, this is going to sound strange, disgust with yourself for wishing for those things or being tormented about those things in the first place. So, for example, you could have been praying for this person and you could have done a lot to get their attention. You could have called them up, you could have texted them, you could have asked them to come over, you could have really, really wanted to be with them, but then they turn up and they're just human. They're just a human person, and there's no sparks or butterflies. It's a very humanizing month. We just had Jupiter go through Libra for the last year, and you might actually notice that things that are, oh my God, like beyond belief, beyond need, are really silly. Really silly and really obvious. You might see that whatever you really wanted to find in your life, whatever you really, really were focusing on in the last month, even to the point of whoever you've been praying to, or whatever you've been trying to pray off, or whatever you've been remorseful about, becomes so easy and so fun and so understanding. For example, if you've had a relationship with your mother that was turbulent, you could actually find that by the 20th or even a little bit after, she just says, don't worry about it. Let's just have a cup of tea. And there's a big bulk of unhappiness, or this big bulge of karma is just off. And on the other side, though, you might see that, for example, if you this month decided that you're really right, and everything that you were was very righteous, and you didn't at all question yourself in a black moon month, as Virgo did start on a black moon, and if you didn't really question your intentions and you felt that you were very correct and you paid more attention to your outer presentation with people instead of your inner world, if you wanted to be seduced by the new without taking care of the old, if you wanted more from life and kept on demanding, this is a really funny thing that can happen. Sometimes during these type of things, you'll understand you do not care for the thing that you've been concentrating on. So for example, you've been wanting that man and you've created a blueprint or prototype of this person, and he shows up at your door and you look at him and you say, that's not what I want. Or say you've been demanding money or demanding a new job or demanding a new part in someone's life, and you get there and you are friends with them again, and you can just come to their house and put your feet on the coffee table, and you understand, I don't need to be here. I don't actually need to be here. So be careful what you generated in the last month, because it might not actually give you that much. So no praying. So if you are coming up to the 20th, it's probably a bit too late now for many of us. But if you are still praying for that special someone, if you are trying to generate something with magic, if you are wanting to create a fellowship or united energy with somebody, and you're really, really wanting to protrude and be somebody special, or if you want to generate more and have more, careful with that, because you might actually find that it finds you, and when it does, you look at it and say, I never needed this. So in terms of wishes and desires during the black moon month, it is not really important to connect to things in such strength. It is for future reference. It's not so important to think that you know where you're going and know what you're doing, it is good to just put the head down and say, I'm sorry. It has really been a good month in this past month to redefine your feelings about past relationships and past activities with people, to redefine your body, to reconfigure your digestive system, to reconfigure your exercise routine, to really have a look forward to something greater, and not to try so hard as well. It wasn't really a good time to bulge through and pick up large weights and try to get yourself somewhere in no time, and regret as well, because you might actually find that by this new moon everything's easy. It's like, so you regretted about a person, and you might actually get this really supreme quality of light about your moods during this time. If you've been trying to resolve things, you might actually see that the person that you've been moody about, or those people that you've been trying to associate with, they don't have a lot of depth, and you've actually outgrown your previous experiences, and all these regrets that you've been working on hopefully in the last cycle are falling away, and they're almost like old cloth that no longer fits. A new thing that's coming up is carelessness, allowing ease and allowing things to be easy. So if you've got something new during this time coming up, there is an easy flat, or there is an easy home, there is an easy person, or an easy invite, and something just manifests almost as if out of the blue, that just reaches out to you and goes, here, have this, like, here, have a piece of bread, or here, have my home, or just here, come over, and I'd love to see you. That kind of thing, do not pass it by, because sometimes during this type of transit we might not value it. We might see something come over or allow itself to be with us. You know, somebody just comes over and puts their head on your lap and says, I actually really always loved you, or somebody comes back from the past. There's also a possibility, or something comes back from the past. You can see a friend from the past, or you can see some kind of like a vulnerable relationship opening to yourself, and even if it's not particularly interesting to you, take it. So something will come up during, I feel, these next few days, for most of us, for all of us actually, that's not as harsh and hard as it used to be. Perhaps if you've never really had a friend, this new friend is very easy to generate. Maybe this new partner or this new ideal is actually really easy to talk to. You might find a lot of humor and a lot of light with a person or two. If you are somebody like me and you're really trying to understand why these people are so nice to you, don't try to understand it, because if there's like an offer, if there is an offer, come over here, it's okay, like we're all friends here, it's okay, just come over, that's yours. And it doesn't have to be shunned, and perhaps it's not where you see your life in 20 years' time. And it is not about that, although I understand your worry, because sometimes during these types of cycles, as Libra Jupiter is still Libra Jupiter, it isn't easy to see yourself settling for things that you perhaps can see are not the future, or you kind of don't really, how can I say, connect with them full-heartedly. It's okay. That's kind of what Libra Jupiter is about. It's about having those things available to you without having to struggle. So if you've got somebody or something open up to you in this new moon kaleidoscope, don't worry if it's not totally fit. If it is just given, if somebody goes, just come over with us, you know, just come with us, or I've got a home open for you just whenever you're ready. And you might at least have one or two things come up. It could be a job, it could be a party, it could be a person, it could be a home, it could be a loaf of bread, it could be some money, it could be anything. But if it reaches out to you and goes, just come on, come here, take it. Take it for a ride, because after a black moon sometimes we get a little bit unnerving to ourselves. We get scared of making the wrong decision and of being around not the right circumstances later. But if it is opening up to you and it's smiling to you, consider, even like in the last week actually, up until maybe the 23rd of September, if there is a person, if there is a place, if there is a job, if there is a collective, if there is a country, if there is an idea, if there is, be careful of ideas generally, but an idea that kind of sucks you in and other people are inviting you into it. What I mean is that. So if there is like a business, if there is a situation, if there is even a shop, if there is something that just sucks you in and it's so easy, it's just so cheap and easy and free, if it is just for you, if it is just asking for you, if you accidentally like get given a cheap online ticket to somewhere, or if you get something just thrown at you, just take it. And if you do not remind yourself of these things, because you might have to build the next reality from these. Perhaps it's a smart move to write down everything that comes easy in the last while, everything that you've seen for cheap, everything that's been given for free, everybody who's turned around and walked your way. Everything that's coming to you in the last week and also up until the 23rd of September, what's smiling to yourself? What is gracing you? What's waiting for you on the other side? What's suggesting something to you? What is still a friend? What is still thinking about you? What is still connected to you? What is still offering you a place in the story? Because these things can stay with you for a long time, and though you may not associate with these things as usual, because sometimes as humans we want something a little bit more far-fetched, it's not interesting. Take it and look at it. And perhaps between these 6 or 7 different aspects that are turning around, becoming so easy, there is something about you. There is something about you. And within that is a truth of you. There is a little seed of you inside, this commonality between those things that are easy during this time. And there is something that I feel will never change, because it got Jupiter in Libra. So don't worry if these things do not look good to you yet, because within these things, these people, and these types of situations, there is a truth. There is a truth, and it shouldn't be bypassed. Another thing, a new thing, I guess, is the 23rd, actually. I'll talk about the 22nd a little bit later, but the 23rd of September, I've seen a couple of prophecies online about something terrible happening, and it's like in some religious Christian text that there's like a preconception there's going to be something really, really dark and scary happening on the 23rd. It is not. It is not scary. Nothing is scary. Everything is like a cosmic joke. There is no fear that exists, really. We just make it so. There is nobody going to die globally, get hurt, or anything like that. If we keep on fearing or not fearing, it's just, how can I say, it is going to change something. I feel that on the 23rd there is going to be a boulder, but an energetic boulder. I don't feel that there is going to be an actual asteroid coming into Earth, or there's going to be a Nibiru thing, because to be quite honest, with Nibiru, these beings do not any longer have anything to do with us. They are, to me, the forefathers and the connectors of us to this planet. But they're not going to be here, so it's almost like, are we scared of Dad? But we shouldn't be scared of Nibiru, because they're far beyond what they thought they would be by now, and their evolution is going smoothly, and they don't really care to entice themselves with other places, with other beings and other things. They do not care for us. So there is no personal vendetta or personal, how can I say, entrapment with the beings on Nibiru. There is nothing that is going on. There is just nothing. They're not interested. They're not learning from us, and they're not taught anything from other species or the species that they've created. So they just have a different life cycle now. They're passing by. There is a feeling that there is like a passing through, but there is nothing really that really needs to be talked about, really, I think. Could even cut that segment out. But in terms of the asteroid and the feeling of something impending, yes, I predicted around the 23rd there's going to be a boulder rolling through, and a boulder, I feel, isn't a big deal. It feels to me that, yes, people that are still taking their life too seriously, and people that are still repenting, or they haven't repented and they haven't really sorted their life out, and they still seeing the cosmic joke as a cruel one, is going to be hard. It's going to be hard because something is getting set up. And it feels to me, and I hope this is not too much information for the esoterically or the occult minded, this is going to be the end of one world and the beginning of the new world, and it's already been happening. So I just see a portal where we are getting transfigured from one kind of species of energy to another. It feels to me that we're growing wings, or a wing or two. It feels to me that we've passed that time where we were getting filtered through as souls or as energies, and we all come together in a sense, but at the same time we're on different planes and we've all been placed where it's appropriate, and we've all gone through a dimensional shift in the last few days, and it's not going to hurt maybe on the 23rd to say thank you, because we've all been placed, and there is definitely a boulder of energy that is going through people. I feel as if ironing out whatever old things that they're still yelling about. You know, I want to get married, I want to have a child, I wish that I was single, I wish that I had a better job, where is my mom, where is my dad? All of that stuff is going to definitely get pushed about. It feels to me like a big thumb, you know, like when people getting knots out of the back. If you got knots in your muscles, that's what it feels like to me. So it does feel to me that there's a bolder energy coming and ironing through those people, or through those energies that are still, why not me, why not him, why not her, why can't I be in love, why can't I be alone. Sorry, just gonna put, it's starting to rain. So all those whys without wisdom are going to, I feel, get boldered through. Just going to put my scarf on my keyboard because it's getting rained on. So it's an interesting time, yeah, definitely. So there is an electromagnetic shift. There is a big push. It is almost like a push when you're getting a really strong back massage, and I feel there is no more than that. So when you're getting a massage, relax, just relax. And if you can dream, I feel there's going to be definitely people being shoved from different dimensions into other dimensions. It's almost like people getting pulled and adjusted. It's like the last chiropractic adjustment. I mean, if you've ever had a Thai massage, the first part is really serene, and then, you know, they get into the hardcore stuff and they rub you and they put their knees against your back and they do the crazy stuff with the elbows and stuff. So it's like the last part of the massage. And the massage, the message of the massage is basically coming to an end. Was coming to an end is my message for you. Happy equinox on the 22nd of September. Because that's where it's at. I feel, I have a fear that I haven't done enough, but basically this is the harvesting energy. This is the energy of, how can I say, knowing what's best for you suddenly. Understanding what's needed suddenly. And what I thought, or what I pictured myself as earlier, isn't what it is now. It's not easy. So here we are. You know, you might have been concentrating on work, and suddenly it's like, wow, I just need a home. Or you might have been concentrated on a certain person, and you go, wow, I actually never needed anybody. I'm actually quite self-efficient. I just want to travel. So this is the equinox, and here we are in a state of conclusion. And the half a year is gone. So from March till September, that's how I measure it. By the ancient tradition, we've gone from spring to autumn, or from autumn to spring, and here we are. There must be a knowing and a certain type of focus, reform. For example, you want it to be something for 2 or 3 years, and here you can see that it's not working. That's all right. Let it lay. Let it lay back. If you've got, for example, something telling you, but I could have been this, could have been that, that's okay, lay it back. It can come back. Say 2 or 3 months later, you can still publish those old books, so you can still carry on that old job, or you can even resume that old relationship. But here is almost like the bottom line. It's like the title. It's like it's the last words, and it shouldn't be taken, how can I say, it shouldn't be taken lightly, because by the 22nd you might see your true nature, or you can get a glimpse of yourself through space and time. So not just through, like, say, the past 3 or 4 years. You can actually get a touch, like a feel of yourself for the next 20 or 30 years. So when you're looking at this equinox, you might actually find, this is a mirror, or like a blueprint of me that's not just, say, for the last few days, the last few months. This is actually a showing me of where I might have been all along, or where I could still be. And it could be a really interesting change. Like, for example, you might see, I wanted to travel, I wanted to do crazy things, freaky things, but I'm actually just needed in a home. Like, people just love having me around. Or the other way, like, I've fought for a home, and then I understand that something is coming together, and I'm offered a flight to a completely different country in a completely different dimension. Or you might see, I've really needed to get these books through, all this knowledge through, but in the end all I wanted was love. Or you might see, I've wanted love all along, but here is on the equinox an idea that I kind of forgot who I was, and I just need a calmness, and I just need a situation where I can just go into my thoughts and pray, or where I can just laugh to myself without having to share the jokes with another. So you might find that the equinox rules you across. It's almost like that's temporary and that's permanent, because the seed from the husk is being divided. So whatever is shedding for good, and whatever is coming in for good. And it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter, for example, you finding yourself suddenly a homebody, but you thought you always were meant to be a traveler, or the other way around. It doesn't really matter, because you can still take on those quests. You can still morph and bend your chart. You can still live outside of your grid, and you can still make something really new happen that your ancestors have never done before. It is just that sometimes it is good to embed into the natural energy, just to have a little bit of a look and to see how you can evolve into greater maturity. Anyway, thank you so much. If you've got any questions, let me know. I usually do a Ask Me Anything video, so post those on that, because I don't usually have a look at the comments in these videos because I don't have enough time. If you'd like a reading, let me know. I will be in Sweden from the 18th, so Monday the 18th. And I'd love to see you. Thank you. Bye.